What's going on? This is Jonathan Salmon back with another breakdown, and this time we're delving into UFC 242 Nurmagomedov versus Poirier. And this is a fight I've been waiting for. The whole world's been waiting for this one. These two guys, particularly Dustin Poirier in his last fight, he really proved that he is the #1 contender in the lightweight division. And obviously, Khabib Nurmagomedov destroying pretty much every single fighter in front of him, including former champ Conor McGregor. And we haven't seen him in the cage since then, so this is a nice return to action for this guy. So how does the fight play out? We don't know. Obviously, MMA is complete chaos, and that's why we all watch. But the keys to victory for both men are pretty on the side of Nurmagomedov. Is very obvious. He's going to try and do this same thing that he usually does in most of his fights. He's going to utilize his wrestling, try and get this to the floor. But I don't think it's as simple as that. I'll delve into exactly why in a minute. I'm going to start with Poirier first, though. I think Dustin Poirier, what he'll really need to do in this fight is present a lot of volume. He has to present a lot of volume, and he can't really be too much on the back foot against Khabib Nurmagomedov. If he allows Khabib to get his strikes off first, then he's already going to be in a bit of a deficit. Khabib is really great at utilizing his striking he kind of masks his striking with his takedowns, so that means he's going to be dipping low into uppercuts, throwing overhand. He has a pretty decent jab that he's been utilizing a little bit more frequently in more recent fights. You would never mistake Khabib for some kind of world-class kickboxer, but he utilizes the strikes in his arsenal well. Like, he couples them together well with his wrestling. So that's what Dustin's gonna have to worry about in this fight. So I think volume is going to be very important. Really having a lot of center control, pivoting off of any kind of movement from Nurmagomedov. Khabib's going to be trying to move around on the outside a lot. So he's a pressure fighter, but he doesn't just come straight forward unless he has no respect for his opponent's wrestling, which I think he's going to have respect for Poirier's wrestling in this one. So he's going to probably most likely circle around him a bit, and I feel like Poirier's jab is going to be super important in this fight. Jabbing to the head, jabbing to the body. That left cross from the southpaw position is going to be very, very, very crucial in this fight. Not just in terms of landing it, to the head, but he's going to have to land that to the body. Body shots all day long against Nurmagomedov. I'm not sure if I've even seen a fighter really target his body, and it's, in MMA, striking, for whatever reason, is just one of those more underrated, underused skills. Striking to the body, left hook to the body, right hook to the body, body kicks, knees, front kicks especially. Seeing as how Khabib is a wrestler and he's going to want to pressure, and a lot of times he will come forward. That front kick to the body will aid Poirier in two ways. One, it will zap Khabib's energy if he does manage to land it to the body. But if Khabib tries to duck under, he could potentially eat a knee or, eat a foot right to the face as he's coming in. That may not deter him completely. If he's able to eat it and not get knocked out or pushed back, he's going to try to finish his takedown. But it's definitely an option to kind of keep Khabib honest and not just rush forward. Even in the Conor McGregor fight, even though Khabib pretty much dominated the fight, he did in the third round, like, McGregor started to find a home for that front kick to the body, and he used a snap kick. That's the real key here. It wasn't a push kick, front kick. It was a snap kick. More of like a Taekwondo karate type of snap kick that was catching Khabib and actually backing him up during that third round. So that was the whole thing. Poirier is really going to have to focus on that front kick, and especially just a lot of body work, crosses, hooks, uppercuts to the body, not just going for the head. He also has a great check right hook, Poirier does, so he'll want to utilize that when Khabib gets, maybe he just gets a bit overzealous. Probably if he tries to stay on the feet a little too much, I feel like Poirier should really utilize that right hook as a counter. What he'll have to worry about is Khabib getting under that right hook and going for a takedown. Pretty much the biggest. Everyone knows that you have to worry about Khabib's wrestling, but it's not so simple as just say, hey, just beat this guy up to the body and then that's it. It's going to take a lot of movement. It's going to take a lot. Staying off the cage is going to be very important for Poirier, I believe, too. I also think that shooting for single legs, it could be a dangerous option, because if you start to wrestle with Khabib, he'll turn it into a wrestling match, and obviously no one wants that. And you give him the opportunity to kind of close distance. But if Poirier at least tries for single legs as a means of circling off of the cage, and at least get his back to the center of the cage again, I feel like that's a very viable option, rather than just hoping to defend with underhooks and then circle off the fence. That obviously is going to be important too. Double underhooks are going to be super important in this fight. But really, it's just not even getting his back against the cage in the first place. Hard to do against Khabib, because Khabib has so many different traps and ways he likes to corral people into the cage. But if you want to beat this guy, you have to just work. You have to be a workhorse and control center. Controlling center is a big key to dealing with a lot of Khabib's pressure and a lot of his wrestling. As for Khabib, he's gonna do what he usually does: come forward, wrestle, and utilize his strikes. The reason why he was able to hurt McGregor in that second round of their fight was just the dipping low, especially after securing a takedown against McGregor. Once Nurmagomedov can secure at least one takedown and control top position, because that's what he's so great at. I was just looking at his last fight. I was looking at his fight against Iaquinta and against McGregor, and when you see his control game on top, he's never on his side. No one's able to really disrupt his balance once he gets down to the ground. His back is always straight. He's never on his hip. He's always his hips are always facing the ground. His core is always facing down into the ground, into the opponent. And you never see his posture really break. And that is what makes him such a nightmare on the ground. It's really hard to disrupt his base, disrupt his posture. So what a lot of guys end up doing is kind of playing a bit of a jiu-jitsu game with Khabib, but Khabib's not playing a jiu-jitsu game. He's playing a control and smash game. He's just trying to control you, get you in one position, whether it's in half guard, and then he'll go to your back, or stay in half guard and just beat you up and use controls, use wrist control. He's pretty terrifying on the ground, and obviously that's what has been his, MO throughout his entire career. But getting down to the ground is really going to be the big mission for Khabib, and I feel like there's so many different ways for him to do it. A lot of single leg takedown attempts will be really good. He used that. The very first takedown he got against Iaquinta was a low leg single, and he controlled the ankle. He controlled Iaquinta's ankle so much so that he makes it a point in every fight. If he goes for a single leg, right? Say if his double leg fails and he goes for a single leg, he's gonna control. He's gonna look for controls. He's always gonna look for wrist control if he's in the clinch. He's always gonna be looking for a control to the ankles if he's going for a low single, or or ankle pick, which, we haven't really seen much of that. But, him even going in, that first takedown that he landed against Iaquinta, it was a single leg attempt. Iaquinta defended, and Nurmagomedov was able to just latch on to his ankle and just stay there, just stay on him, just gripped onto that Achilles tendon and just lifted his leg up until, Iaquinta, his balance was just completely thrown off, and he was able to trip out the leg or really kind of bully him over and push him over, and that's where he secured a takedown. So I feel like with Poirier, double leg takedowns aren't really going to be super effective. I think any kind of takedown that just gets him close to Poirier is going to be a good bet. Definitely attacking that front leg. I think they're opposite side stances. I think Khabib is orthodox and Poirier is southpaw. So going for that right leg, single leg, big for Khabib. I think if he goes for that single leg, he can just transition to the double. He can transition to a high crotch. He can go down, try to control for an ankle pick. He can go for a knee tap. There's so many different options for him. And I think going for that single leg is really going to be the big opener for him, rather than going for an explosive double or anything like that. If he doesn't already force Khabib against the cage with feints and jabs, even leg kicks, even some leg kicks, Poirier is susceptible to leg kicks, actually. So not to say it's the most, his most devastating, most glaring weakness, but he's definitely been caught with some leg kicks before. So I think that's a really good option for Khabib. He can even use an outside leg kick with a front leg to kind of maybe corral or to cut off Poirier when he tries to circle to his right. A left low kick into a single leg right directly afterwards would be a really good option for Khabib, just to get the wrestling going. So all in all, I think Poirier has way more of a chance than some people give him. I think a lot of people look at him as a kind of this blood and guts fighter, but I think it's really his attack is way more nuanced than that. He's really his focus, his ability to counter is really improved over the years, and that coupled with his power is going to really make him dangerous for Khabib. If Khabib throws any kind of lazy jab or is able to even get pressured up against the cage, expect Poirier to use that right hook, left to the body, hooks to the body, a lot of those attacks to really just kind of start sapping the energy out of Khabib. But all in all, going to be a fun fight, I'm hoping, and should expect some fireworks from this one. So if you guys agree with the breakdown or disagree, you can let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments. Give me a like, a subscribe, hit that notification bell as well, as I'm going to be dropping more videos, doing more breakdowns. So until then, see you in the next one.